Hello friends, Sandra here. Welcome back to my channel. So I just finished reading Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. And this is a heavy book. It's really hard for me to review a book like this because people look for so many different things in the books that they read. Some are looking for enjoyment, some are looking to learn something, some are looking for, just escapism. If you want to escape, this is not your book. It's a dystopian novel, but it's very much a social commentary. It's very much putting a lens and a very hot light over what the judicial system could look like. It reminds me a lot, the writing style and the storytelling, of David Foster Wallace's Infinite Jest. While Chain Gang All-Stars is nowhere near as long as Infinite Jest, you get the multi-POVs, you get the flashbacks in time, kind of give you the backstory of each of those characters. You get a lot of footnotes that give you more world-building detail and share historical data from the actual United States. A lot of American rights kind of stuff is in there, a lot of crime data. The book has a ton of footnotes interjected here and there. I did an immersive reading, so I read an ebook version of this. I didn't want to get this one dirty because this is a signed copy, but I read the ebook version while listening to the audiobook. The audiobook narrators were amazing. In the writing style of this, there's different dialects, and the narrators did such a great job at expressing each of the different characters. Each chapter, and even within chapters, it will jump to another character's head. As the story goes along, you see how everyone's past kind of connects them to the here and now. So the premise of the story, because I haven't talked about that yet, is in a kind of near future America, people who have been found guilty of crimes, they have the option of opting into the CAPE program, which stands for the Criminal Action Penal Entertainment, which is a highly popular, highly controversial profit-raising program in America's increasingly dominant private prison industry. It's the return of gladiators, and prisoners are competing for the ultimate prize, their freedom. And in this book, it differentiates between, there's two types of freeing, right? If you're in a bad situation, you can die. That's one way to be free. So they call that low freedom in this book. And then there's high freedom. So if you sign up for this CAPE program and you're able to survive the 3 years and be this grand colossal, then you will be free at the end of these 3 years. But again, it's a gladiator-like tournament. And the striking thing is, regardless of what each of these people did, whether it was murder someone, whether it was assault people, some of them are in there because they dared to stand up against law enforcement. I think the stories that moved me the most, besides the main characters, which were Thurwar and Stax, was a character named Singer, and then his counterpart, a character named Jungle. And then there was this kind of woman who kickstarted some of the key elements of the story named Patty, who was somewhat of a scientist. And she was a good person. Her heart was in the right place when she was researching this technology that could help people like her father. If you think about like a police baton, they call that like an enforcer. In this book, there's a technology called an influencer, and it's just the worst pain that you can imagine. Patty was a woman who was developing this to help her father with his pain. It got used against her, and then she was put in prison because of trying to fight back against people using her technology for very bad reasons. You get these different POVs and you see how they fit together, and these gladiators are in their own little groups or whatever you want to call them, but each gladiator is called a link, and they're all links on a chain. It's just a heartbreaking story. It made me sad. There were a lot of things that were just too close for comfort that you can see in the news today. There's data shared, in footnotes about ICE and just kind of the impact that has had on families, police force. I mean, it talks about everything from rubber bullets to tear gas, all kinds of things. And I feel like these are things that have been normalized in the news lately. And you think about the whole premise of this, which is, ancient Roman people, they had the Colosseum and they had gladiators, right? And it's not that far-fetched here, because if you think about it, if violence is normalized, violence can be monetized in a modern society, in a capitalist society. So I would say if you're one of those readers that you are more into the philosophical questions that are raised and just being challenged in your thought and getting into headspaces and experiences in life that are so different from your own, this is going to be the book for you. But like I said, it is not an enjoyable read. It is heartbreaking. You can't really relate to a lot of the characters, but I think one of the things that it did really well was just showing the humanity. One of the big questions in this book over and over again is a person at their core the worst act that they have ever committed? Is there such a thing as redemption? Do they deserve forgiveness? Can they learn to forgive themselves? When your life is resigned to living in isolation 23 hours of the day, or behind bars with illegal fight matches going on in the prisons, or signing up for a program like CAPE, what does your life become? What does it mean to be human? Can goodness still exist in that place? And the two main characters in this, Thurwar and Stax, are almost like an experiment in that, in what that would look like. There's also a love story in this book. I won't share anything about that to avoid spoiling anything. I have to share a quote that I wrote down that I think captures the soul of this book really well. So I wrote it down in my little reading journal, and it says, "I thought of how the world can be anything and how sad it is that it's this." And when I read that, it just hits you. It almost just knocks the breath out of you, because you look around the world, you look at all the countries and the cultures. The world is beautiful. It can be beautiful if you only focus on those parts. The reality is, for so many other people, not even in this country alone, in developing countries, in different third world countries. My mom's from the Philippines, When I go over there, I'm shocked by how different it is from the United States and how people get by with what they have there. And the Philippines isn't even the worst situation, but you look around at the world and all the different people and all the different cultures and art and music and just the things that are created. The world could be anything. If humans are the pinnacle of living things because we have sentience and we are innovative and we can build things and technology and all of this and that, then how is this the best that there is? And this book is heartbreaking because it just takes a look at that and just challenges the whole aspect of it. I think it really makes you question your beliefs, whether you believe in this or not, but things like the death penalty. Obviously, there are people that are very bad, and this isn't even a question of nature versus nurture for what makes people like that, or whether you can fix them, whether they can assimilate back in society if they're released. That's not even a question of that, but it's in a system that has the death penalty and that monetizes these gladiator-like services where people can finish out their time. These systems like that, these violent systems, not only do they create, at times, monsters on the inside that have to live in that reality day in and day out, but they create monsters on the outside. You get the POV of people who are spectating at the show, who will go to the live show, who stream the shows. The prisoners can get fan mail from stuff, and at times in the book it'll read through that. Just how entertaining a program like this and spectating and watching it, how it warps a person. It's very alarming. You can kind of see a little hint of that today. I mean, violence in a way is already monetized. It's like those early stages, clickbait, rage bait, the worst of the news that you see in your feed, and just those all incite feelings in a person. And so what happens when a society normalizes watching people kill each other on television and they have fan bases and things like this? It's disgusting. And it does make me think back to, because when I was in high school, one of my favorite movies was the Russell Crowe Gladiator movie. And I don't know this line verbatim, but it's something someone asked to the effect of, "Is Rome worth one good man's life?" And this book just amplifies that so much, because you see people who are incarcerated wrongfully. And it goes into the statistics of, in the prison system each year, it is estimated there are 100,000 people in prison for a crime that they did not commit. So then it challenges you to think about whether having a system like this that has the death penalty, that has isolation chambers, this kind of thing, if you amplify that gladiator sentiment to 100,000 people, and then just the ripple effects of the people on the outside who mean something and love those 100,000 people, the whole system starts to crack And that's when you start creating monsters in and out, whether it's creating monsters within law enforcement, within government agencies, within the people trapped in this prison system. It almost makes my brain shut down when I try to imagine being in a place like that feels so hopeless day in and day out. So yeah, I just had to get some of those thoughts off my chest because I feel like my brain is still processing just all of the things that this book made me question. And like I said, it's kind of a tough read because of just the political environment that we live in today. I can't recommend this book enough. Pick up a copy of this book, listen to the audiobook. It's wonderful. I kept this review spoiler-free, so hopefully I don't give too much away, but I thought there were beautiful, touching story arcs in this, and I can walk away from this book knowing that I learned something. I think when you can have your belief systems challenged and be able to sit and think deeply about issues that you wouldn't normally think about and how they might impact you, because you'll see in this book there are some who they never deserved to go to prison. They did nothing to warrant having to go to prison. And how easily that could befall somebody else, a normal person, you or me, and just how you have to protect those freedoms and protect people and protect humanity. So I feel like this is kind of a downer of an episode, but like I said, I'm still processing. It made me feel a lot of things, and it was a very powerful novel. I hope you'll consider picking up a copy of Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. I will be curious to see what else he's written because this was so well crafted, and I walked away with so much more insight, and I can't ask for more when I'm reading a book. Hope you enjoyed this spoiler-free review, and I will see you in the next one.